In an interview 25 years ago, an old man named John West said that when he was 17 and he signed up for the Civilian Conservation Corps, he weighed 116 pounds. When he was checked 6 months later, he weighed 160 pounds. That was not uncommon. The rate of malnutrition for young men signing up was at 70% when the Corps started. The Civilian Conservation Corps started on March 31st of 1933. My brain, that likes dates and cycles, loves that because the Civilian Conservation Corps was about creating hardworking men who showed up and did what was necessary. And one of the hardest working, most incredible men I've ever met also has a birthday today. So I like that in my brain. March 31st of 1933, though, the Civilian Conservation Corps is formed. The men were so out of work at this point in time that 18-year-olds did not have a way to get a job, right? And there was 25% unemployment. People were surviving. Most of America was surviving off of like one meal a day in parts of America. And we had all of these young kids coming into their adulthood that were not able to find work. They were idle for no reason of their own. And FDR and the New Deal put together the Civilian Conservation Corps. And they created the national parks, they created irrigation channels, they created all kinds of tree planting to counteract the Dust Bowl and protect from future Dust Bowls. They did so much work. Over the course of the next decade, basically, between the time that the Civilian Conservation Corps was formed and the time that World War II started and it was disbanded, over 1 million young men served in this. They did not get paid very much. What they got paid in was food, housing, clothes, right? In the beginning, they lived in tents. They did not have full barracks, sort of bunkers, but they had clothing on their back, and they had 3 good meals a day. And they received a $30 a month stipend. That $30 a month went to mostly back home. So the way that it was set up was that this was 18 to 25-year-old young men, unmarried, right? They signed up, but $25 of that went back to their families. And $5 of it went to the account that they could use for buying candy and buying stationery or whatever they needed. The thing that's important to keep in mind here is that young men at this point in time should have been kind of logically joining in on the family farm, joining in on the family business, starting to contribute back financially to the family. Except that the family farms had collapsed during the Great Depression. The family businesses were either shuttered completely or were not making enough money to take on, more work. And so these guys went and worked somewhere else for up to 2 years. And that money that they made went back to their families. That was part of the system. This was not a choice that they were given. This was, that money's going back home and you're going to work. I'll post some of the menus that they had separately because I absolutely love that they were feeding these guys right? A lot of these guys, they were so malnourished coming in. They had been eating so simple and not enough protein and not adequate meals. And a big part of the CCC was that the meals were right. The meals were hitting it. And I love that it was part of the process of training a bunch of folks to show up and do the right thing. It was still segregated. So it was black and white, and there was an Indian division. And it was still a segregated system. It was complicated in many ways, but it did the thing. These guys lived in huge tents and did all kinds of incredible work. They set up the national park system to be what it still is. It's still riding on the work that these guys did today. And this is the anniversary of them getting started on it. It also set us up in World War II to have a million men had served in this program. And so a million men had just been through the process of working hard, having that community, were ready to show up. And many of those men went straight into the services and either ended up in Europe or in the South Pacific.